Every single day, somewhere in the middle of the ocean, a 19-year-old raises their hand, locks eyes with a pilot sitting inside a 44,000-pound fighter jet, and becomes the only thing standing between a successful launch and a catastrophe. No wall to hide behind, no barrier between them and the engine, just a yellow shirt, a set of hand signals, and the kind of focus that most people will never be asked to produce in their entire lives. This is the flight deck of the Abraham Lincoln, and this is the most dangerous job on planet Earth. Before we talk about the jets, we need to talk about the ground. The flight deck of a Nimitz-class carrier like the Abraham Lincoln is 333 meters long and 78 meters wide. It sits 90 feet above the surface of the ocean. There are no safety rails along most of its edges. The steel surface heats to over 60 degrees Celsius during Gulf operations. The ambient noise during flight operations sits at a sustained to 140 to 150 decibels, the acoustic equivalent of standing next to a continuously firing weapon. And inside that environment, right now, as you watch this, there are human beings walking up to live fighter jets and guiding them by hand. They are called yellow shirts, and their job is to physically direct every single aircraft movement on that deck. Parking, positioning, taxiing, launching. Every movement a jet makes on the Abraham Lincoln before it leaves that deck is controlled by a yellow shirt standing meters away from it, using nothing but hand signals and body language, because verbal communication on a carrier flight deck during operations is physically impossible. The noise swallows every word before it leaves your mouth. So you learn the signals. You drill the signals until they are faster than thought, because on this deck, thinking too slowly is the same as thinking wrong, and thinking wrong gets people killed. Now let's put you in that yellow shirt. Let's put you on the deck of the Abraham Lincoln and walk you through what guiding a fighter jet actually feels like from 2 meters away. The aircraft you are guiding is an FA-18 Super Hornet. It weighs 44,000 pounds fully loaded. Its 2 General Electric F4 engines produce a combined 44,000 pounds of thrust. When those engines spool up to full military power, the exhaust temperature at the nozzle reaches 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The engine intake, the massive circular opening at the front of each engine, generates enough suction force to pull a 200-pound adult off their feet and into the turbine from several feet away. You know all of this. You knew all of this before you stepped onto this deck, and you walked out here anyway. You approach the aircraft from the front quarter, never directly in front of the intake, never directly behind the exhaust. You have been trained to treat every inch of space around this machine as a kill zone with specific boundaries. You stop at your position. The pilot looks at you through the canopy. You make eye contact. From this moment, you are in a conversation conducted entirely in movement. Your hands are your voice. Your body position is your punctuation. You signal the pilot to release brakes. The jet begins to roll. You walk with it, maintaining your position relative to the aircraft, your eyes moving constantly, checking wingtip clearance, checking the deck surface ahead, checking the position of every other human being in your immediate zone. Because the jet does not stop for the person who didn't move in time. The jet does not stop for anything. You guide it toward the catapult. And here is where the danger compounds into something that has no civilian equivalent anywhere on this earth. The catapult track runs along the deck toward the bow of the ship. Your job is to position the aircraft precisely on that track. The launch bar on the nose gear must drop into the catapult shuttle with exact alignment. Millimeters matter. You are guiding a 44,000-pound aircraft into a precision connection while standing close enough to touch it. The engines are running. The intake is live. One stumble, one patch of hydraulic fluid on the deck beneath your boot, one moment of lost footing, and you are no longer guiding the aircraft. The aircraft is deciding what happens to you. Once the aircraft is on the catapult, the jet blast deflector rises behind it, a reinforced metal plate that angles the exhaust upward. Without it, the exhaust plume from an FA-18 and afterburner would travel horizontally across the deck and kill everyone in its path. With it, the heat and blast still radiate outward with enough force to knock a person down at 15 meters. You are standing closer than that. You feel it in your chest before the launch even happens. The air around the aircraft shimmers. The deck vibrates under your feet. The pilot pushes the throttle to full military power and holds it there while the shooter, the catapult officer, makes final checks. The noise has gone beyond noise at this point. It has become physical pressure against your body. And then the catapult fires. The electromagnetic aircraft launch system aboard the Gerald R. Ford, the evolution of the steam catapult system used on the Abraham Lincoln, accelerates that 44,000-pound aircraft from 0 to 165 miles per hour in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. The energy released in that moment is equivalent to the discharge of a massive industrial capacitor bank. The jet is gone before your brain has finished processing that it left. What remains is a shockwave of displaced air, residual heat, the smell of jet fuel and hot metal, and the realization that you are still standing. You take one breath, you reset, because in 8 minutes, another aircraft is coming. This cycle runs continuously during flight operations on the Abraham Lincoln. At peak tempo, the carrier conducts one launch or recovery every 90 seconds. There is no pause between cycles for the yellow shirts. There is no moment where the deck goes quiet and safe. The operation is a living machine, and the crew are its moving parts, human components in a system that cannot afford a single failure. Now the jets come back, and if launching is controlled violence, recovery is something closer to controlled terror. An FA-18 returning to the Abraham Lincoln approaches the deck at 150 miles per hour. The pilot is descending toward a moving runway that is pitching and rolling with the ocean. The target is a steel cable, one of 4 arresting wires stretched across the rear of the deck. The pilot must catch the third wire. The aircraft hits the deck with a force that sends shockwaves through the steel. The hook catches. The wire stretches under a load of hundreds of thousands of pounds. The aircraft decelerates from 150 miles per hour to 0 in under 2 seconds. The forces involved generate up to 4 Gs on the pilot and the airframe simultaneously. And the crew on deck during this? They are crouching, bracing, watching from positions meters away. Because if that wire snaps, and wires have snapped, it travels across the deck at the speed of a bullet and the weight of a steel cable. In 1989, aboard a U.S. carrier, a snapped arresting wire killed a sailor instantly. There was no warning. There was no time to react. There was only the wire, and then there was not. If the pilot misses all 4 wires, a bolter full throttle is applied instantly, and the aircraft flies off the bow and comes around again. While that is happening, yellow shirts and the full deck crew are already repositioning for the next recovery. The deck never stops. The job never pauses. The men and women doing this work on the Abraham Lincoln are not a specialized elite unit pulled from the top of military recruitment. They are enlisted sailors. Many of them arrived on the ship at 18 or 19 years old, fresh from boot camp and a few months of technical school. They are your neighbor's kids. They are the teenager who worked at the gas station in your town last summer. They showed up, they were trained, and then they were handed a yellow shirt and walked out onto one of the most lethal surfaces on this planet and told to guide a fighter jet. Their hearing will never fully recover. The Navy's own data confirms hearing loss as the most common service-connected disability among veterans, and the flight deck is the primary driver. Their bodies absorb years of noise, heat, vibration, and physical stress that accumulates silently until it doesn't. They work 16 to 18-hour shifts during deployment cycles that stretch for months. They sleep in bunks stacked 3 high in compartments below a deck that never fully goes quiet, and in the morning they get up and go back to the roof. In 1967, the Forrestal lost 134 sailors in under 90 minutes, when a single accidental rocket firing on the flight deck triggered a chain of explosions across armed and fueled aircraft. One moment, one mistake, 134 people. The Forrestal fire is the ghost that lives inside every safety procedure on every carrier flight deck operating today. Every FOD walk-down, the shoulder-to-shoulder sweep of the entire deck before operations begin, searching for any loose object that could be ingested by an engine, exists because of what happens when the protocols fail. Every hand signal drilled until it is reflex. Every approach angle to an aircraft memorized until it is instinct. All of it is built on the memory of what this deck does when humans get it wrong. The Abraham Lincoln has sailed through the Persian Gulf, the Pacific, and the North Arabian Sea. Its flight deck has seen thousands of launches and recoveries. Its yellow shirts have guided jets in darkness, in rain, and swells that tilt the entire deck beneath their feet. They have done it in temperatures that cook the steel under their boots and in winds that push back against every step. They have done it tired, and they have done it scared, and they have done it anyway, because the aircraft needs to move, and their hand is the only signal the pilot is waiting for. So the next time you see that shot, the one where the fighter jet explodes off the bow of the carrier into a perfect sky, look at the edge of the frame before the camera follows the jet. There is a figure there. Yellow shirt, hands still in the air from the last signal, already turning to find the next aircraft. That person guided that jet to that moment, with their hands, from 2 meters away, on a moving ship, in the middle of the ocean. That is the most dangerous job on Earth, and they will do it again in 8 minutes. If this hits you the way it should, like this video right now and subscribe, because next week we are going somewhere even deeper inside the Abraham Lincoln, somewhere the cameras almost never go. You do not want to miss it.